Hello, friends, and welcome to our very first guided reading class. I am so excited for this. Please, if you have not already, open up Reading A to Z and open up your assignment, which is Scaredy Camp. So you can pause this video at any time, but I encourage you to pause it at this moment to pull that up. Okay, so we are going to get started. So, speaking of camp, have you ever been camping? What supplies do you need when you go on a camping trip? Why don't you go ahead and make a list? What are the things that you need when you go on a camping trip? You can jot them down. I know I need food, warm clothes, flashlights. You know, when it's really important when you're camping to have all kinds of clothes and equipment so that you're ready for all types of weather. Why is that important? How is camping out and sleeping in your own room similar and different? Do you like to camp out? Why? You know, when you're camping, there's often unfamiliar noises from the natural environment that may scare us because we're not used to them. Have you ever experienced that? Hearing an odd noise while camping? Why don't you add on to that list you made of camping supplies of experience that you have? Things that you might hear while camping. So, now that we've built up our camping experiences, let's go ahead and look at this book for the camping experience that we are going to read about. The book is called Scaredy Camp. It's written by Russ Boyack and illustrated by Thomas Boatwright. Let's look at the front and back cover of the book. What do you notice? What do you wonder? Effective readers make predictions, which are guesses, about what will happen next in a story. So making a reading prediction on the basis of clues from the text and illustrations is more important than getting the prediction right or confirming it. So you don't always have to be right. You can always change and revise your prediction as you read the story. So I'm going to make a prediction using the cover of the book. So looking at the title of the story is a great way to make a prediction. The title of this story is Scaredy Camp. From our previous discussion, I know that when I camp, I sometimes hear unusual sounds and noises from the woods around me. Sometimes these sounds can be a little scary if I don't know what they are. When I look at the illustration on the cover of the book, I see two girls standing outside of a tent using a flashlight to look around. They both seem a little scared. Maybe these girls heard a strange sound and started looking around for the cause of the noise. Perhaps they walked too far from their campsite and got lost, and now they have found another campsite where they can ask for help. So, on the basis of the information I gathered from the title and the cover illustration, I'm going to make this prediction. Two girls went to find the source of a strange noise and got lost. They found a campsite and will ask for help. So why don't you make a prediction based on the cover and the title? So remember, you can make this prediction on the basis of clues in the text and illustrations, but the prediction is far more important than the accuracy. It does not have to be accurate. You just have to use those clues. And you can use other reading strategies as you're going through the story, like asking and answering questions. So there are 5 elements of a story: character, setting, plot, conflict, and theme. So, setting. Let's look at that one. The setting of a story, like we've learned, is that it's a time and a place in which an event takes place. In some stories, the setting can change. For example, the time of day, the season, or even the year may change. And this often has an impact on the plot and the characters in the story. What are examples of stories that and identify the settings? Did the setting change throughout that story? If it did, how did it impact the character and the plot? An author can sometimes use clues to give you a cue about the setting changing, like specific words and descriptions, illustrations. And effective readers look for these clues as they read to keep track of the setting in order to better understand the story. So again, I'm looking at the cover. And as I look at the cover, I see the 2 girls with a flashlight. I know right away on the basis of their clothing and the fact that they have a flashlight that this story takes place in modern times. I also notice that it is dark and the moon is up, which shows me that at least part of this story will take place at night. As I read, I'll be sure to note whether the time of day changes. Additionally, I will see that there are tents, tall trees, and a lake. This information leads me to believe that this story will take place at a campsite in the woods. What other clues about the setting can you find in the cover's illustration? How does the title of the story provide a clue about the setting? Make sure that you pause often as you read to identify and analyze any changes in the setting. So some really important vocabulary words that we are going to come across are petrified, hunker, lurking, and screeching. So I'll say those and then you say them after me. Petrified, hunker, lurking, and screeching. These 4 words are going to be in the text. Knowing what they mean will help you understand what you're reading. So think about what these words might mean. And you can use a dictionary to find out the meaning of a word. So look up petrified. It might be under the root word petrify. And there's a glossary on page 16 of the book. And you can find the word petrified in that glossary. And the dictionary may have a couple of definitions for a word that this glossary only has one because it identifies the meaning of petrified in the story. Why don't you compare the dictionary definition and the glossary definition of this word? Can you find the petrified on page 9? I'm going to read it to you, so follow along with me. Just as quickly as the shaking of the tent began, it ends, leaving us clinging to each other, listening to the rain patter. I'm terrified, Sarah says. I clear my throat, trying to act as though I'm not petrified, and say, probably just the wind. So the petrified was used in that sentence. Why don't you go through and find the other vocabulary words and try to do the same thing? So the purpose here is for you to read to find out what could be making the strange noises outside of the tent. You can make, revise, and confirm your predictions while reading. So I would like you to read from up until page 5. Read through page 5. Read to the end of page 5. And then when you do get to the end of page 5, I want you to stop and think about the events that have happened so far in the story. Before reading, I predicted that the girls hear a strange noise and leave their tent to find the cause of the noise. I also predicted that they would get lost while they were out and that they would find a campsite and ask for help. After reading pages 3 through 5, I discovered that my prediction is partially correct. Sarah and Quinn did hear a strange noise that scared them. So far, however, they have not left their tent because of the rain. After the girls call for Sarah's dad, he is the one who looks around for the cause of the noise, not the girls. I will write the following down so I can revise my prediction. The girls still do not know the cause of the noise and hear it again. Sarah's dad ventures out into the rain to see if he can find the cause of the noise. If my prediction had been completely accurate, I could have placed a check mark beside my thinking to show my prediction was correct. Remember that it is more important that my prediction is made on the basis of the clues of the illustrations and text rather than being accurate. Why don't you go ahead and review the predictions that you made before reading, and revise if you need to, or confirm if you need to. What new predictions do you have on the basis of the information that you've read so far? So I predict that Sarah's dad will not find the cause of the noise and that the noise will continue after Sarah's dad goes to bed. You might find it helpful to write down your predictions. What clues from the text or the illustrations did you find helpful to determine the setting? Did the setting discussed from the cover illustration differ from the setting that you saw? After reading pages 3 through 5, I will go back and find clues that help to identify the setting. First, I will consider the illustrations. On pages 3 and 4, Sarah and Quinn appear to be inside a tent with their sleeping bags because they are using a flashlight. I can tell that it is nighttime. On page 5, the illustration shows Sarah's dad unzipping the flap of the tent. He is holding a lantern and wearing a rain poncho. These clothes show me that it is dark and rainy outside. Next, I will look at the text for clues about the setting. On page 3, the text states, Sarah and I are drifting off to sleep when we hear something scraping against our tent. From this sentence, I know that the girls are inside a tent, and I also know that it is not too late because it is around the girls' bedtime. The text also states, rain patters against the nylon, and I hear it striking the surface of the nearby lake. The downpour started as soon as we arrived at the campsite just outside of town. This information tells me that it is raining outside and the girls are camping next to a lake that is close to where they live. What clues did you find on pages 4 and 5? In text and an illustration that helped you identify and analyze the setting. Go ahead and read pages 6 through 9. Review your predictions and create a new prediction based on what you have read on pages 6 through 9. Now that you've read pages 6 through 9, what clues did you find that helped you identify the setting and how the setting has changed? Turn to page 9 and look at the illustration. What clue in this illustration points to a change in the setting? Well, Sarah's dad is standing outside of the tent with the hood of his jacket down, and it does not appear to be raining anymore. How does the rain ending impact the character or the plot? Well, the girls may leave the tent to look around for the cause of the noise. Why don't you go ahead and reread pages 6 through 9 and underline any clues in the text that indicate the setting or change in the setting. go ahead and finish the book. Remember to pause and to confirm or revise your predictions. And you can create new predictions based on what you read. And look for clues in the text and illustrations. So now that the story's over, I predicted that Sarah's dad would look around but not find anything and that the noise would continue. This prediction was correct. Sarah's dad did not find anything and he went to bed. Meanwhile, the noises became louder and louder and the girls became more and more scared. Because my prediction was correct, I can put a check mark beside my written prediction. If my prediction had been incorrect or partially correct, I could have revised it. Go ahead and review your prediction for the last section of the book and make any revisions or confirmations that you need. Why is it important to learn to make predictions on the basis of the clues in the stories than to make an accurate prediction? At the end of the story, Quinn sees the strange figure of a child standing in the water. Why do you think the author ends the story in the way without explaining who the child is? Who do you think the child might be? All right, friends, that concludes today's first guided reading lesson. Tomorrow, which is Thursday, I would like you to listen to the story being read. On Friday, I would like you to read it to someone. Your learning coach, your learning guide, a peer, a dog. Read it to anyone. And then on Monday, I would like you to read it independently. And on Tuesday, take the comprehension quiz. All right, friends, have a great day.